Let's go Broncos! What if I told you the Green Bay Packers might be walking right into a trap this Sunday at Mile High? What if I told you that a play the Broncos are about to make could completely change the course of the game, not just for this game, but for the rest of the season? Something big is happening in Denver right now, something that could catch the Packers off guard and ignite the Broncos offense when it matters most. I have information you need to know, and believe me, you won't want to miss a second of this analysis. But before I reveal what's really going on behind the scenes, like this post if you're a true Broncos fan who believes in this team. And if you've ever yelled "Let's go" after a touchdown, leave a comment right now saying, "Go Broncos! We're coming to the playoffs." Now buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you could completely change your perspective on this matchup. Now, here's what's cooking in Denver. Pat Bryant, who's been gaining momentum in this offense, is expected to miss the upcoming game due to a hamstring injury. Multiple sources close to the team, including Sean Payton himself, have hinted that Bryant will likely be sidelined. And while that might sound like a big loss on paper, this situation could open the door to something exciting and potentially game-changing. It might finally be time to activate Elijah Moore from the practice squad. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Finally might be a stretch since Moore just landed on the practice squad last week. But considering the limited depth at the wide receiver position and how critical it will be to attack the Packers' defense effectively, this could be the perfect opportunity to unleash Elijah Moore. He's got NFL experience, he was a second-round pick, and most importantly, he's had some impactful games. Just ask the Broncos defense, who saw him shine last year while catching passes from Jameis Winston. Currently, the practice squad WRs include Michael Bandandy, Ed Perry, and Kyers Rowan. But let's be real, Perry hasn't been elevated at this point, and that tells us a lot. If the Broncos are going to make a move, Moore is the logical choice. He brings that versatility, especially in the slot, which is going to be essential against a Green Bay secondary that excels at limiting slot production. They're sixth in the NFL in yards allowed per reception to slot receivers, just 6.7 yards. That's tight coverage, and it means we can't afford to put a player out of position there. No, Courtland Sutton can't be your full-time slot option, and even Evan Ingram, while he'll see work there, will have a tough matchup. This makes Marvin Mims a key X-factor. We know he can stretch the field and make big plays on screens. Bo Nix is going to need a dynamic presence like Mims to keep the Packers honest. But if Moore is activated, this offense could suddenly take on a new shape. A more dynamic, unpredictable look that forces Green Bay to adjust on the fly. And that's exactly what you want heading into such a pivotal game. Let's not forget the recent chemistry developing between Bo Nix and Troy Franklin. It's a connection that's only growing, and in Bryant's absence, Franklin could see an expanded role. Then there's Courtland Sutton, Mr. Reliable. In recent games, he's looked like a dominant force again, using his frame and elite ball skills to come down with contested catches. If everything else fails, feeding Sutton is still a winning formula. But here's the twist that shifts momentum firmly into the Broncos' favor. The Green Bay Packers are likely going to be without their offensive workhorse, Josh Jacobs. 2 straight days of not practicing, an MRI, and a pessimistic 20% chance of playing, according to those close to the Packers' locker room. That's massive. Jacobs is the centerpiece of their offense. Over 800 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, averaging 4 yards per carry, and a stellar 85.7 grade from Pro Football Focus. Without him, Green Bay will be forced to lean entirely on Jordan Love. And while Love has had a solid season, over 3,000 passing yards and 22 touchdowns, he's also streaky. He hasn't yet had that yikes game that every quarterback seems to suffer through at least once per season. Maybe, just maybe, that game is coming this Sunday in Denver. If you've watched the Packers, you know Love can light it up when he's in rhythm. But the moment he's thrown off script or pressured into mistakes, things unravel quickly. That's where Denver's defense needs to step in and make life difficult. If Jacobs doesn't suit up, Matt LaFleur's game plan, typically built on a run-heavy scheme, is going to be disrupted. He's cut from the same cloth as guys like Shanahan and McVay. He wants to pound the rock and control the game. Without Jacobs, that whole identity could crumble. Let's pick up right where we left off. If Sean Payton and the Broncos coaching staff decide to activate Elijah Moore, it's more than just a roster move. It's a signal that this team is ready to adapt, pivot, and push forward without hesitation. The absence of Pat Bryant forces their hand to some extent, but it also creates a unique opportunity to catch Green Bay off guard. This isn't just a plug-and-play situation. This is strategic. The Packers' defensive schemes are tailored to limit predictable offenses, especially in the slot where they're among the best in the league at limiting production. So throwing something unexpected their way, like Elijah Moore in motion-heavy looks or mismatches against linebackers, could crack that scheme wide open. Think about it. If you're the Packers' defensive coordinator and you've prepped all week for a certain WR rotation, and suddenly Moore is in the game running drag routes and option slants underneath while Mims is flying downfield and Sutton's drawing attention outside, your defense is now on its heels. And when a defense is reacting instead of dictating, Bo Nix can go to work. This is where Payton thrives, drawing up packages to create confusion and mismatches. Now, I want to go back to Marvin Mims for a second, because this is a player who might be due for a breakout. The Broncos have been hinting at unlocking his full skill set, and with defenses now keying in more on Sutton and Franklin, this could be the game where Mims explodes. He's shown he can create separation. He's fast, he's elusive after the catch, and he might be the perfect weapon to stretch the Packers' safeties and open things up for more underneath, if he's activated. This is also a great test for Bo Nix. The rookie's chemistry with his receivers has been growing, but this is one of those games that can define a quarterback's trajectory. Without a full complement of offensive weapons, how does he adjust? Can he lead scoring drives without leaning on the usual suspects? Can he handle playoff-like pressure? Because make no mistake, that's exactly the kind of environment this game will present, especially with the stakes rising in the playoff race. And while we're on that subject, let's talk defense. Because without Josh Jacobs, the Broncos defense needs to come in with a ruthless mindset. This is their time to shine. The front seven has to hit home early and often. Force Jordan Love to beat you without his top running back. Take away the safety net. Pressure him. Collapse the pocket. Force mistakes. Because even though Love's stats this season look solid, he's not the same quarterback under duress. The Broncos have an opportunity to tilt the field in their favor by setting that tone defensively. Let's not overlook how important this game is for momentum. A win here not only keeps the Broncos in the playoff hunt, it builds confidence. It solidifies the belief in the locker room that they can beat good teams, even while dealing with injuries. It proves the system works. It's a culture win, not just a box score win. And let me drop one more nugget for you to think about. If Elijah Moore is activated and shows even a glimpse of his potential, that changes the WR room dynamic heading into the final stretch. Depth matters in December and January. You need guys who can step in and contribute at a high level without disrupting the rhythm. If Moore proves he can be that guy, then Payton's got one more card to play down the road. And trust me, come playoff time, every card matters. That's why this Green Bay game, while it may not look like a marquee matchup on the national radar, is enormous for the Denver Broncos. It's a character check. It's a depth check. It's a coaching check. And if the Broncos come out and handle business, win convincingly, execute cleanly, and activate their depth like pros, we're not just talking about sneaking into the playoffs anymore. We're talking about being dangerous once we get there. So here's what I want you to do. If you believe this team can make that run, hit that like button right now and drop a comment that says, "Go Broncos! We're coming for the playoffs!" And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because we'll be breaking down every snap, every decision, every play that could lead us back to the Super Bowl. Video recommendations are right here on the screen. Check those out next. And as always, Broncos country, keep the faith. Let's ride. The possibility of activating Elijah Moore isn't just a backup plan, it's a calculated chess move by Sean Payton. This team is inching toward a postseason spot, and every decision from here on out could be the difference between clinching a playoff berth or falling short. When a coach like Payton makes a roster tweak in Week 15, it's not random. It's targeted. Strategic. He's seeing matchups, weaknesses, tendencies, and he's planning to attack. If Elijah Moore gets the nod, you can bet it's because the coaching staff sees an opening in Green Bay's secondary that they're ready to exploit. And let's talk about what Moore brings beyond just his stats. It's his route running, his quickness in short areas, his ability to turn a simple slant into a first down or more. Those are the kinds of plays that extend drives, that break defensive rhythm, that wear a unit down over 4 quarters. You insert a guy like that into a must-win game, and suddenly Bo Nix has another weapon, another trusted option. It keeps defenders from doubling Sutton or crashing down on Mims' jet motions. It forces linebackers to hesitate just long enough for Payton's offense to click into gear. Defensively, Denver's catching Green Bay at the perfect time. If Josh Jacobs is truly out, and all signs say he is, then the Broncos can force the Packers to become one-dimensional. And that's not the formula